How often do you get to shoot weapons in the military? You're gonna be surprised by this. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions, but as always, let's go right to the topic. And that is, how often do you get to shoot weapons while you're in the military? I know the military is highly known for weaponry and being able to shoot, and that's being like part of the idea of what the military is all about. I don't know how many times I've total ever shot a weapon in the military. Three times in 10 years. That sounds crazy, right? But what I want to say is it's really job dependent how much you shoot. That's the main thing. But to be honest, the people that have to shoot are the ones that typically don't like to shoot, from my experience. The only contrary I would say are infantry Marines I've dealt with that love shooting, because obviously you're training to fight. That's the ideology behind it, and it's probably the most fun part of the job, except for going to the range. That's because you're gonna wake up super early. You're usually pretty cold in the middle of the night at 3 or 4 a.m. getting all your stuff for the range, and then finally you don't shoot until much later in the morning. Then there are people that are required to shoot on a regular basis. So obviously there's shooting packages, things like that, which go on at different units, and that's gonna also vary how much you shoot as well, not only just the job, but the unit you're at, because there's funding. So many of you guys think that what happens is, hey, I wanna go shoot, let's just go to the military range or something like that, and that's really not how it occurs at all. That's because there's funding which is tied to how much ammunition you use, the personnel needed, you need a corpsman for safety. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that goes on in regards to allowing you to shoot before you can just go there and start shooting off rounds. So the jobs in the Navy that I know of that require you to have any qualification as far as meeting a certain score are religious program specialist and master at arms. If I missed a certain job, I probably did, list it down below. These are the only two I know that require you to get a annual qualification. I actually have been on corpsman coverage for the master at arms. They were required to do the shotgun, M16, and the M9. Honestly, a lot of them really hated it. There were a few people that did have to re-qualify that needed some remedial action. So realize that just because you shoot once a year doesn't mean you are going to be the most proficient shot on your base either. If anything, I would say the gunner's mates that held the course that I was on, or helping facilitate, they were the ones that actually had much better hands-on experience. Obviously, gunner's mates are more skilled in small arms as far as maintenance and things like that, and understanding the weapons. And I know I'm gonna get this question as well. What if you have a weapon of your own? Can you shoot it? That's not gonna be the case, because obviously you have to stick to the standardization of military. You're not just going there, taking your weapon and using the free range for yourself. I do wanna say that your policy as far as base goes, having a firearm, before you bring a firearm on base or you are considering doing it, I would honestly contact your local enforcement, as far as if it's the PMO for Marine Corps, the Master Arms, whoever it is, before you try to, because you're gonna have to register that weapon typically if they do allow your weapon to come on base. Also understand this does take some paperwork, so just be understanding it is a process as well, because you're not dealing with the typical state to state legislation as far as what you can and cannot do. You're now in the realm of federal, jurisdiction. So obviously there are different rules as well. I'm not the most qualified to talk about that specifically, but that's why I'm saying refer to your local security department or whatever they are on your local base before you get there. We'll give the little example of when I was in Spain. Obviously being stationed overseas adds way more complexity to it. People were allowed to have their weapons, but they could not have any ammunition. So you can see they would be deemed useless at that point. Obviously, they are the host nation, and those are the agreements between the United States and their government. So again, if you're going overseas, whatever base you're going to, make sure you ask these questions if you do have a weapon. Honestly, I do find the range tons of fun. If you get a chance to go, definitely set that up. So I know a lot of people are going to ask about getting qualified. That is another thing that I want to make sure you understand, because I have done corpsman coverage for the ranges that are there. as far as first responder. But I want to let you guys know, even though there was leftover rounds and I was able to shoot the weapons, I was not allowed to qualify. This is really up to the person that's running the qualification at that point. If you're allowed to get qualified, definitely something to inquire about. It's not part of your annual training as far as requirement. It's going to be more difficult to get a spot, and that's because usually the base is so busy with who needs to get qualified already that going just for a fun shoot is usually not going to be the case. But I have seen our people that do get qualified on certain weapons, it's typically before deployment, and so that's been one reason they've been able to get a spot or been able to shoot more frequently than other people. Again, this is not the entire factual capacity of how things work over the entire military. Just some food for thought as far as how the process goes, so you guys can understand maybe a more realistic expectation of your ability to use weapons or to be able to fire your weapon. And I will tell you guys, as far as my experience as with a Marine Side Corpsman unit, even though you think I'm with the Marines, I'm gonna be able to shoot much more often. I haven't shot at all since I've been with the Marines. I'm not knocking it, because many of you guys do understand that it comes with cleaning your rifle and doing everything else that you need to do in order to shoot. And even if I don't shoot, I still have to clean my weapon on a monthly basis. So it's kind of a hassle already having a weapon issued to me, but it's just one of those things that it's a requirement of the job. But as always, guys, if you guys do have any more military questions, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.